Right, it is 10 o'clock UK time. Hello everyone. I'm Sarah, the creator of the RiutBag, and now I'm going to be answering the questions that have been coming in the last week since I released the brand new, smallest, lightest ever RiutBag. So for anyone who doesn't know, RiutBags are the opposite way round to all other backpacks. Most backpacks, when you look at them, open up on this side. And I think that's kind of weird because most of us travel around on our own if we're commuting or if we're traveling across the world. And I think it's really strange that the person behind you can get into your backpack more easily than you can. So what I did with all RiutBags is I've moved all the zips to the back. And that means when you're wearing it, you naturally close off all of the points on the backpack so that it's totally secure. So that's basically the concept of a RiutBag. That is what all RiutBags are like. But so RiutBags have been around since 2014. That's when the first ever prototype existed. Thanks to Kickstarter and all of the Kickstarter backers, I actually managed to go from a RiutBag prototype to the first production run, and they came back in 2015. So since then, what I've been doing is gathering all the feedback from RiutBag users and designing new RiutBags using that feedback. And that is what the whole concept of Riut is about. So this is the latest RiutBag to come out of the user feedback and the user thinking for real city travelers. These are urban backpacks so that you feel safe even when you're in a really busy city. So the RiutBag Crush. Question number one is how is a RiutBag Crush different to any of the other RiutBags that already exist? Well, if I grab an R10, this is a laptop backpack. They're made from pretty heavy duty material. This is designed for international travel, for commuting every single day. It holds a 15-inch laptop and it's a heavy duty proper rucksack or a backpack, depending on where you are. Over the last year, in fact, since I started getting feedback from people have asked me to create a really light rucksack. And I couldn't do it at first, but after I heard certain stories from RiutBag users saying I was traveling through Asia on my own and I just didn't feel safe. I was using my RiutBag for certain things, but then I just had these little day packs that completely defeated the point of the RiutBag by being the other way around. I eventually managed to start prototyping something much lighter. So the RiutBag Crush, there is a whole 10-litre rucksack in here. It is called the Crush because it is so lightweight that it crushes inside itself. This is a RiutBag Crush. It lives inside its own back pocket. And in fact, to come to one of the other questions, someone said, I'm going to lose that pouch that it's in. I know how you feel because I would have lost it too. But because I know that people lose stuff, this pocket, which is actually the D pocket on the RiutBag Crush, is where the whole thing lives. So when you're not using it, it just crushes back inside here. So when you see that little pouch, either in the photos or the videos, that is part of the RiutBag and it all goes in there. How does it differ from other RiutBags? Well, it's still backwards, but as you can see, it's super, super, super light material and it crushes right down. So that's what's different about it. It's not designed to be a laptop backpack. It's not designed to be your sort of heavy duty commuting bag. It's not designed for heavy duty international travel. But if a little Crush lives inside your R15 or your R10 or your R25 or any travel bag that you're using, when you arrive, you just get this out. Oh, cool. I'm glad you like the name, Matt. It was actually kind of a working name originally because I was just describing what it was like and I was like, yeah, well, this thing kind of crushes down, so I'll just call it a Crush for now. And then when I took the prototype with me on a sort of test travel, I kept referring to it as the Crush. Can you pass me my Crush? Oh, is my Crush there? Can I have the Crush? And it really stuck, and now it is here. And it actually describes what it does, so I'm glad you like the name. Now, What else is different about this backpack from the rest of the RiutBags is that thanks to user feedback, it's actually yellow inside, so that you can actually see where your stuff is. And I'm really pleased that someone mentioned this, but that is what it looks like inside. And you'll be able to easily find everything. Is it waterproof? This is a really good point. Right, so RiutBags, the material is basically showerproof. I've used it up to about 20 minutes in the rain when I'm cycling. But it's not fully waterproof material. I haven't managed to find one that is light enough to crush, but is actually going to be waterproof. And there's a really important point on the waterproofness of a textiles product that is stitched together. Whenever you have, let me get this light over here. Whenever you have seams that are stitched together like this on any kind of backpack or any item of clothing, if a sewing machine has been used to sew panels together, at that point, even if you're using waterproof material, the needle going in hundreds or even thousands of times means that there are holes down those seams and down those stitching lines. So you'll find on any backpack the least waterproof bit of that backpack is going to be where there are seams. And so I'm happy to call this showerproof because it's fine up to about half an hour in the rain, but beyond that it's not going to be waterproof. So if waterproofing is the most important thing that you need from a day pack, then you kind of need to go for a backpack that has got a different type of manufacturing. And there are some really great waterproofing products out there, and they use an adhesive or a sort of heat-based adhesive form to make sure that you don't actually have to use a sewing machine to put the backpack together. Those are quite heavy duty and they won't crush down. So whenever you create a new design, it tends to be that you've got 100 things you want to do, but in reality you're only able to focus on certain things. So this is great if you want a very light backpack that crushes down and that is secure because all of the zips are at the back, but it's not the ideal backpack for waterproofing, for example. So thank you for mentioning that. And Arnaud, I could put it on Amazon, but instead all RiutBags are sold exclusively through my website, which is riut.co.uk. Now, on to the next question. So, does it have a separate pouch? No, it doesn't. The whole RiutBag lives in its own D pocket. And why is it yellow inside, someone said? It's because recently someone said to me, can you make the RiutBag not so dark inside? And so I've decided to trial it on this RiutBag, hence the yellowness inside. Now, what is this material? It is called RipStop nylon, and yeah, I'll quickly finish the material question and then I'll come on to that again. So, RipStop nylon, hopefully you can see, this has got a particular type of structure in it. There's sort of, it's almost like tartan actually. This material is used in hot air balloons, and nylon is generally quite a strong synthetic material, but the RipStop comes from the fact that it's got this structure. So even if there were a small hole in the material, that rip would stop at the point that it gets to the next, that it gets to one of these ridges. So RipStop nylon is what it's made of, and that's inside and out. There are 2 layers, so it's quite light. So it's very light. It's 230 grams, but it's actually quite strong because of these 2 layers, and because of the RipStop nylon. So yeah, people have talked about having perfectly waterproof backpacks in the feedback, and of course everyone wants that, and I'm working on how exactly to do that with a RiutBag design. Like, should I go for a completely different manufacturing approach, in which case it would be very difficult to actually keep the RiutBag core design, or do I just take it to the point that the RiutBag it does really well in the rain, but isn't perfectly waterproof, like the majority of the things that we own. And I keep that debate in my mind at all times. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Matt. So what are the straps like? This is what someone asked me recently. On a RiutBag, the straps are quite wide and quite deep in terms of the foam. And that's on a RiutBag R10 or R15, R25. But on the RiutBag Crush, this is how thick they are. It's one layer of mesh foam, one layer of ripstop nylon, and then a really thick webbing down the side on either side. So as you can see on me, these are quite slim straps, but then the kind of weight that you're going to be carrying in this backpack, it's probably unlikely to be more than 5 kilos, but just for fun, I did actually fill another RiutBag Crush with 5 kilos worth of tins and cans and stuff like this. And so, you know, the straps are absolutely fine when you've got sort of 5 or 6 kilos in there. I do suggest that you don't carry tin cans around the whole time in it. I mean, in theory you can, but it can do it. But I think this is not like the completely ideal way to use your RiutBag Crush. So instead, if I show you how I use it, this is like perfect day pack type stuff. So if you think about what you would, like the day pack, the word day pack really comes from the kind of hiking, mountaineering type community. Like, what do you need for a day? You probably need something like a packed lunch. I don't actually have anything in there right now. A jumper, maybe an umbrella, and I always carry a massive raincoat with me. And that is what sits very happily in a RiutBag Crush. I've got my sunglasses at the top. I've got, you know, something like my phone and my keys in the bottom and the D pocket that I can get out whenever I need them. Like, that's really what lives in a RiutBag Crush, I'd say. And then when you don't need it, it just crushes back down. So this is for everyone who wanted to see what it looks like when you've actually got stuff in it. This is basically what it's going to look like, depending on what you put in it, basically. Ah, Tommy. Well, on this one, I decided this is a very lightweight bag. And the reason that you would have a torso strap either up here or down here on any backpack is to help distribute the weight properly. In this case, I am suggesting that most people are probably not going to be carrying more than about 2 kilos in here, and most body types can handle 2 kilos without any need to increase bring the weight distribution down or in, sort of more centrally into the body. Also, because I wanted this to be so lightweight and crushed down, it was important not to add too many extra pieces of material, otherwise it wouldn't actually be able to do that. So this is very, very, very lightweight. This is a full RiutBag Crush with sort of, you know, what have I got in here? The jumper, the Mac, and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the reason that I don't have a torso strap on it in the same way as I would on an R10 or an R15 or R25. Well, Matt, it's a very good question. Would I consider doing the light inside on the rest of the range? This is definitely a test on the newest RiutBag Crush range. If people really like it, when I get feedback from RiutBag users, if they find it is actually useful and they get the balance right between the inside of the bag being brighter and, you know, the difficulty of wanting to have a sort of new looking backpack but that doesn't have too many marks on the inside. That's why I don't want to make a very light coloured RiutBag, because if you start getting marks on the outside, then you kind of lose that new looking feel, which you can maintain for almost ever on a black backpack. And on the inside, we'll just have to see how it works with the yellow inside. I would love to do it on all the RiutBags, and it might be something that happens in the next few productions. So yeah, keep an eye on that. I'm going to basically base it on user feedback. So, oh yeah, someone wanted to know, is there a handle? There's not a handle in the same way as you would have on the RiutBag R10, for example. This is the only handle that you get on the Crush. It is slightly wider than the top loop that you get on the R-range RiutBags, but it works just fine as an actual handle for holding onto it, especially at the weights that are likely to be going into this backpack. What's the next question? What does it look like full? This is what it looks like full. And someone asked a really lovely question, which is, how much did you pay an advertising agency to make the RiutBag Crush videos? I don't pay advertising agencies to make videos for me, but thank you for asking anyway. I work with a really great photographer called Jasper White. I hope you don't mind me mentioning you, Jasper. He's done all of the photography of the RiutBag right from the very beginning, the very first prototype, straight through to the Crush. And this is the first time that we took a little bit of time out in our photo shoot to do some video. And what we then do after that, when we've got all the video, I download it all. I then open it, all of the raw material up on my Mac, go into iMovie and make some little videos out of it to try and show you what this thing really looks like. And video really helps, I think, to actually explain physically what something is like, especially when it moves like a RiutBag Crush. Because if you just saw it looking like this, it would be very hard to believe how little it could be. So have a look at those videos, and that is, when it's in its little pouch, that really is the D pocket on the RiutBag Crush. Ah yes, one more question. So someone was worried that this white writing that you see on the outside of the pouch, that's going to be somewhere on the outside of the RiutBag Crush. It's not. That is when the RiutBag is in its little pouch. I'll just quickly roll it up and put it in so you can see how it goes away. So when the Crush is in its little pouch, this is the inside out D pocket for all of those RiutBag pros out there who know the different parts, the anatomy of a RiutBag. So that's the inside of the D pocket, which means when you take it round the outside, the white writing is on the inside of the D pocket, right? So it's not going to be anywhere on the outside of the bag. And I've kept the logo and the branding like very, you can't really see it too much. It just gets caught in the light. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, well, thanks very much. I love doing videos, but it's so important to do them because otherwise how can you really see what's going on? Someone asked a general question about RiutBags yesterday, I think, and that is, where are RiutBags actually made? I make them in a place called Fujian province in China, and in fact, if you're going to be around next month, I will be taking you via video to the factory in China. Some of you who have been around right since the very beginning have seen me do this many times. I go to the factory. For the final few weeks of every production, I sit down, I check every single RiutBag, which gives me the chance to go up to the stitching floor where I can actually see the RiutBags being made. Because if you imagine the production process goes something like this, I put in an order with my factory and say, hello, I would like some new RiutBags. They've got to look exactly like this. Then at that point, the factory goes to their manufacturers, the suppliers who make all the different bits of material, because none of this exists. This is all made, every buckle, every zip, every piece of thread is made in order to fulfill that order. So that none of this stuff is just sitting around in a warehouse somewhere. They make it at that point. Then they bring all of the pieces together. Ah, yes. Ah, someone has another question. Bag checking is actually great. But, and it's a sort of necessary part of the process. If I'm going to order 1,000 of something, then I think it's really important that I know what it means to make all of those. And also I understand what I'm designing and what it means to make it 1,000 times. And if there's some problem that arises again and again, then I can possibly go, right, what can I do differently to design this in another way so that I don't cause problems in manufacture? And also, when I'm at the factory in China, it means that's actually when I do the majority of really finalising my designs, because I sit there in the prototyping room with the people who are sort of making my drawings come to life. Someone was just talking about a 17-inch laptop backpack. I'm going to be dealing with that in the next live feed, which will be 11 o'clock UK time. That the RiutBag Crush is really not for a laptop, but does fit an iPad inside. I don't recommend it for iPads and technology. It's not built to look after those things, but they do fit inside. Ah, Tommy, what's all this? Just wish all would have a bottle carrier on the outside like the R15, R25. Yeah, the R10, in order to make the R10 so slim, I'll be talking about these on the next one, and in order to make the RiutBag Crush, I have taken away that complex pocket which carries the water bottles. But in all seriousness, when I go somewhere with a Crush, even with a kind of 1.5 litre water bottle, I just put it on the inside, and that sits quite nicely alongside my jumper, and everything stays pretty much upright. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. Hi, Hayden. Well, yeah, I'm really glad that you found the RiutBag, because this is a real challenge. Of all the things in the world that people could be watching online or could be knowing about, I find it really amazing that there are people who know that the RiutBag idea exists, and that they backed it on Kickstarter, and that they've really come along with me right from the very beginning, right from my first sketches and my first surveys, and really helped me build the RiutBag. So every new RiutBag is basically built by me and all of the RiutBag users who have been involved in that process. It's a really powerful thing. Otherwise, this thing wouldn't happen. Have you thought about sprinkling some Riot Magic on a drinks bottle? There are some pretty good drinks bottles out there. I keep seeing new designs for them, actually, sort of ones that crunch right down, or the ones that like crush right up and become really small, and you can sort of suck all of the air out of them. So it's quite I don't know. I think there are some pretty good designs out there. I always like, lots of people get in touch and say, can you please design one of these? But I often find there's already some really great solutions to those things. It's just a case of finding them, a little bit like you right from the beginning, Matt. You helped right from the beginning with the RiutBags, and we've never met. So many of us have never met, but I'm sure there's a whole community of people around like drinks bottles that are coming up with really great ideas, and it's probably happening on Kickstarter. Thomas, I'm just going to read your question. Oh, see more. Cool. Oh, God. Well, it's really great to be able to show you guys, you know, how this stuff works, and anything that I can do to solve real problems, which I really think by basing all of the RiutBag designs, even the RiutBag Crush, on the feedback of real urban travellers or real travellers who are going around the world. And in fact, this idea came from the fact that someone said to me, I have a RiutBag, I use that when I'm travelling, but when I go travelling, what I really use on a day-to-day basis is a small day pack. And I didn't feel safe when I was out in bars in the evening or just walking around on my own during the day. That made me go, right, now is the time to really try and build another kind of RiutBag, and try and keep the other ones at the same time. So yeah, this process, you can now completely be a part of it. And what I do every year, either once or twice a year, is send out a survey to all RiutBag users and say, what is good about a RiutBag? What is awful about a RiutBag? What do you want to do that you can't? Or what is actually causing you a problem today, which maybe wasn't in 2015, because our traveling experiences are changing. The way we integrate with communication and with devices is changing, and that might mean that the designs that help us move around in cities or around the world also need to change. So that is why we will keep staying in contact, me, you, and all the RiutBag users, to keep sort of seeing how are we going to help these mundane, everyday objects help us to move through the world properly. Right. I think that is all of the questions on RiutBag Crush that I have. Thomas, I really hope you, the RiutBags will be coming out. I'm due to ship on the 30th of May this year, but over the next month you'll be able to follow me and my videos as I go to the factory and we complete the first ever production run of RiutBag Crushes in black and navy blue and with yellow inside for the very first time. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that you learned everything that you need to about RiutBag Crush. If there are more questions in the future, I'll do another one of these perhaps next week or next month. But until now, thank you very much for watching, and the next one that I'm going to be doing at 11 o'clock UK time is going to be on the laptop RiutBags, the R10, the R15 and the very new R25. So come back for that if you want to. And if you're sort of, the thing that you're more interested in is learning about Kickstarter projects, product launches, and how on earth you do that online as one person, then that's what I'm going to be discussing at midday today UK time. Okay, bye bye everyone.